Greetings! So, do you want to dedust? In other words, have you been inactive in Oaths for an extended period of time, and the maps you easily full comboed back in the days are harder than ever? Do not worry, my rusty boomer friend, because I analyze the process of dedusting deeply and intensely. I have been playing Oaths on and off. Mostly off, to be honest, the past 3 years, but because of a certain Oath event taking place in the Netherlands every year, I have regained my motivation to play once again. As such, I'm gonna show you how you can keep that momentum going when you suddenly get a rush of motivation to play. What do you do when you haven't played for months, maybe even years, and you suddenly want to resume where you left off at the beginning of your hiatus? Well, first of all, you watch this video, that's what you're gonna do. You will also write a comment about your derusting journey, if you have any.
Do it.
But seriously, this guide will do good for those as well, who are just looking to improve and don't really need to derust. But first, we need to establish a couple of concepts. So we are gonna rub some brain cells together, alright? There are two main aspects of derusting: skill derusting and keeping your mentally unstable head in control. With skill derusting, you have your usual stuff like reading, aim, speed, and basically everything between. Fairly simple, but people still get frustrated and quit because of the second aspect, mentality. Oh, you think you're gonna come back after being AFK for so long and pick up where you left at your peak? Well buddy, unfortunately you are not a main character of an anime, so let's lower those expectations a little bit, alright? And that's gonna be your main focus with mentality while derusting. Lowering expectations. Your brain craves dopamine, and barely being able to play maps you used to easily do before is something that gives your brain something like an anti-dopamine. Don't quote me on that, I am not a neurologist. But you will feel pretty discouraged, I can tell you that for sure. You will also need a couple of tools to derust. You wouldn't just bang the rusty steel pipe on the ground until it's nice and clean now, would you? Oh no. Obviously you are gonna stick it up your ass. So once you have macOS downloaded, link is in the description below, we can get started on your journey. You can use laser, but I would recommend macOS for a couple of reasons, at least in the beginning. First of all, you can change up the map however you like. Struggling with reading? No problem. Struggling with speed? No problem. Struggling with crippling depression? Get in line, pal! Laser is able to do speed manipulation as well, but I would only recommend using it over macOS if you want to use the replay analyzer tool. Link, as always, in the description. You can also track your progress with localized PP counter. The usefulness of this will depend on how much you are focusing on PP giving skills. So those are the general broad strokes on derusting. But as you can see, the video is way longer. So let's get granular with the step-by-step process now, shall we? First of all, you will need to identify what you want to do now that you have returned. Do you want to farm those sweet and delicious peppy points and start making top scores again? Or do you want to be a tournament demon? You will need to adjust the verto method in this video depending on your goals. But the important thing about this is that you need goals. Before you even hit a single note in game, you already have a mental skill check. And let's be honest, most people already fail here. I mean, you can derust by just spamming F2, but we are trying to make this process as easy as possible. Am I right? That's why you are watching this video after all. Unless you are procrastinating again or God forbid, you just like my content in general. So once you have your goals, download a bunch of maps. Not just random maps. That would be too easy. I am going to give you a general progression curve, but feel free to adjust it based on your goals and expectations, since we all start at different points and we all improve at a different pace. You also need to accept that. I'm sorry. What I personally did was that I set myself barriers I need to clear before I move on to the next. For example, if your peak performance before your hiatus was around 400 to 500 pp, gather about 5 to 10 maps around the 200 and 250 pp range, and try to hit that range with your plays. I know it sounds low, but you desperately need those early dopamine gains. To do this, use Grum's PP Farm website, where you can select which mod you want to achieve your goals with. Feel free to focus on a single skill aspect if you hate variety. Just hate it. We are trying to rehabilitate you, not trying to train you to play in the next Oath World Cup or anything. That's for another video, probably by someone else, let's be real. Finding a skill to quote-unquote main is not a bad thing anyway when you don't have as much time as you used to because of work or school or just life in general. Just choose a skill that's the most fun to play for you. Coincidentally, that's usually the one you improve the fastest at, so that's very convenient for us when farming dopamine. You will improve faster in other skill aspects once you get the feel of what it's like to improve fast in one skill aspect. Additionally, I recommend playing short, but not too short maps at the beginning of your Derust journey, between TV-sized and 2.5 minutes ideally. Also, this is going to be a weird one, but keep your play sessions short, like 1 to 2 hours, with frequent breaks, as long as you don't have to warm up again. This is because you can no longer focus for an extended period of time. Been there, done that. Even if you think you can, your scores beg to differ. Remember, you are a rusty old person. Even marathon runners need to derust if they didn't run for months to be able to run marathons again. Keep that in mind. This method will achieve a number of things. Most importantly, you will get some dopamine in your monkey brain, even though normally you wouldn't get excited about such plays. This is due to the fact that you set yourself a clear and reasonable goal for your current state, and there is a clear progression toward them. Don't forget that you are debuffed right now. Your brain needs to understand that the way to acquire dopamine isn't just about being a better player than you were before a long time ago. If you just bang your head against the wall of your old peak performance scores, you might eventually get that, but those weeks, even months if you lost a lot of your skill, might be just too painful to actually reach it before you quit again. My friend, you don't have to go dry on dopamine for an extended period of time. You are playing a game. Have fun. Keeping the flow of dopamine is the only thing preventing you from coming back into this game with full force. And other encouraging words from yours truly, I guess. An extra tip for tournament players for derusting. You guys operate on a much different skill set than us dirty farmers. Instead of doing a PP progression curve, you can use map pools of various skill levels from tournaments. If these tournaments are already over, you can use the player's score as a benchmark to progress. I haven't really been a tournament guy since Score V2 was introduced, which was a long time ago, so I will leave this topic for someone more qualified in tournaments than me to cover this part. Anyway, once you clear the first barrier, you can move up to the next level. Since the difficulty will get exponentially harder, you will need to cautiously increase the barrier. But basically, you are repeating the same process as before. Get 5 to 10 similar maps, clear how many you would like before you progress, and so on. Macos is a great tool for this, because you don't need to dive headfirst into getting your desired scores instantly. Sometimes you just lack something you had in the past, and you need to ease yourself back into it. Is AR10 too high for you right now, and that's why you can't clear your hard rock challenges? No problem, work your way up to AR10. Are you having issues with keeping combo? No problem, work your way up to AR10 with easier maps, and once you're able to do them with AR10, try playing your challenges on the most comfortable AR, then slowly, bit by bit, work your way up. Or is the speed requirement of the map is just too much for you right now? Slow down that bad boy and work your way up. You can adjust the speed almost down to the BPM in Macos, so you can find the most comfortable BPM to start on, or even lower, to be honest. Feel the movement. Let your muscle memory actually remember the lines your cursor used to draw, and stuff it hasn't drawn before. Once it does, it will be much faster to progress than you have ever imagined. Sometimes, even doing a full combo on a difficulty adjusted map will feel like progress. Because it is, you will feel that when you increase the difficulty back to its original state. Now, you might end up getting mental blocks during your derusting journey, or perhaps there might be a single pattern that if you could clear, the rest of the map would be so free. The solution is simple, you just go back into the main client, cut that part out in the editor while cursing the mapper, this one is very important, and use the aforementioned difficulty adjusting methods in Macos to practice, and more importantly, progress with it. If it's a serious case of mental blocks, you can also just periodically rotate the playfield, gently, so it doesn't get dizzy. I don't recommend rotating it every time you try it, just because you need to do a certain amount of repetitions of the same thing until you get it right. But hey, You might be just the most ADHD ridden person who gets mental blocks just by looking at the notes in the editor. Don't worry about it, kitten. Just play however you can to get the most dopamine out of it. Oath is such a mentality game anyway. I also like to use hidden to mix things up sometimes, even though I'm far from being a hidden player. Or if you're a hidden player, just switch it around. Use no hidden. In my experience, it forces you to read the map slightly differently, which might make your brain click with realization. Use that knowledge to repeat your God mode moment. Aight, for the last part, we are gonna talk about filler episodes in your training arc. When the anime catches up with the manga too quickly, and there is nothing to cover yet, so they just slap you with some boring filler episodes. Well, don't worry, that danger won't be threatening you. If you progress too quickly, you will just get more dopamine out of it. No need for filler episodes here. But if you get stuck for days, or even full weeks at certain barriers, it's your brain telling you that you are burnt out and you need to stop, or else it will punish you with mental illness. Now, I would recommend taking a day or two off every week in general. Overplaying is such a massive debuff for all the players with too much time on their hands. I would know because, again, I have been there. You simply cannot maintain adequate concentration levels for 12 hours for this game, especially not when you didn't play for a while. Focus is a skill, and it kind of works like a muscle. Overwork it, and you will just keep doing mediocre scores while spending most of your playtime getting frustrated at yourself. You really don't want to start saying discouraging stuff to yourself either because of that. Play while you feel like your focus is at peak levels. Take frequent short rests and have days off occasionally. You can do more with less time played. Don't be afraid of trying out crazy stuff either. Go into that spaced stream with the confidence of the 12-year-old who pings you on Discord because they sniped you on a random site read you did. Even if you miss the whole thing, it will give you information on what exactly you are doing wrong, which gives you an opportunity to adjust your movements accordingly. If you really don't want to take a day off, or if you are just bored of grinding out the barriers we set up for ourselves, then you still have a number of options. It's not like you have to spend 100% of your Oath sessions purely on derusting. Play multi with your friends. Try out some absolutely silly skins. Go play some bangers without caring what score you get. Or try speeding up some easier bangers in macos to make them more engaging. Anything is good here, as long as you are having fun with it. At the end of the day, this is a game, and even if you are an improvement enjoyer, you should really take time to enjoy some of the non-improvement related aspects of the game. Ironically, it will help you improve much faster. At this point, you might be confident enough in one or two skills to try stuff you used to before. For me, it was when I got 99% on a hard rock map in one of my early sets of the challenges. I just knew that I unlocked some of my accuracy skill, not all of course, so I entered 2 of the short Minarcode sets into my rotation, separately from the rest of course. And maybe I can set some neat scores on them with enough practice and patience. I already had a good enough score with no mod on one of them from a while back, so that became my hard rock try-hard map. I haven't really set anything on the other one, and it is slightly more difficult with no mod than the other with no mod. So I tried as best as I can on it with no mod. With enough adjusting and analyzing, I got my 5th top score on the no mod one. Nice! I didn't even check that it would be worth that much, just so I wouldn't get too nervous about it, to be honest. The hard rock one is shelved for now, despite my best efforts. I still got a mental block on those pesky back and forths, but that's okay. As an Oath boomer, if there is anything you should take from my story, it's that you need to pick your battles. Otherwise, you risk getting burnt out again from the lack of dopamine. To be fair, you can summarize the entire game's progression by balancing the amount of dopamine you get versus the amount of dopamine you spend playing this game. And I still give the hard rock Minarcode a try occasionally, which helps my mental block a lot, so I'm hoping I'll get a decent score on it one day. No issues if not, because there are plenty of maps to practice and set great scores on. Branching out a little like this really helped my flow aim and streaming skills. And as I said earlier, this is just a side quest. You can return to it later when you feel stronger mentally, if it makes you feel too frustrated. I truly believe keeping a good mentality is more important than actually setting scores in the long run, both in terms of mental health as well as raw long-term improvement, so that is a little bit of everything for everyone. Hope you liked this video, like and subscribe and all that, and let me know if I missed anything in the comments below. I'm sure you'll do.